In 1943, beneath a ruined city in Eastern Europe, there was another world. A world without sunlight, without air, without hope. While bombs destroyed buildings above, something even worse waited below. The sewers. For 18-year-old Jacob, that underground nightmare became the only path to freedom. Before the war, Jacob had never imagined crawling through filth to survive. He was a student, he loved books, he dreamed of becoming an engineer. His father worked on railways, his mother taught children in a small school. They believed in education. They believed in the future. Then the occupation came. German soldiers marched in. Posters appeared. Curfews were imposed. Neighbors disappeared. One night, Jacob's family was arrested for hiding refugees. No trial. No explanation. They were dragged from their home and pushed into trucks. Jacob never saw his parents again. He was sent to a labor camp near a destroyed factory complex. The guards called it work. In reality, it was slow death. Prisoners worked 14 hours a day, moving rubble, repairing railways, clearing unexploded bombs. Food was almost nothing. Beatings were common. Disease spread quickly. The smell of sweat, blood, and hopelessness filled the barracks. Jacob learned quickly. Survival meant obedience. But obedience did not mean safety. One morning, a group of prisoners collapsed from exhaustion. Guards shot 2 of them as an example. Jacob watched, frozen. He understood. This place was designed to erase people. Names, dreams, lives, everything. At night, prisoners whispered about escape. Most plans were madness. Running meant bullets. Hiding meant dogs. Bribing meant betrayal. But one rumor was different. The tunnels. Old sewage tunnels under the camp. Built before the war. Forgotten by guards. Filled with poison, rats, and darkness. Almost no one who entered returned. They called it the road of death. But for Jacob, it sounded like the road of hope. One night, an older prisoner named Merk sat beside him. "I worked in construction before the war," Merk whispered. "These tunnels lead to the river. If we reach it, we're free." Jacob looked at him in disbelief. "That's suicide." Merk shook his head. "Staying is suicide too." That sentence stayed in Jacob's mind. Every beating, every corpse, every empty bed. It repeated itself. Staying is suicide. Weeks later, Jacob made his decision. He would enter the darkness, even if it killed him. Better than dying slowly above ground. The entrance to the tunnel was hidden behind a broken concrete wall, near the camp's old boiler room. Most guards never went there. The smell alone kept them away. Rotten water, human waste, dead animals, chemical waste from destroyed factories. It was a place even rats avoided. That was why it was perfect. One stormy night, when rain covered most sounds, Merk and Jacob made their move. They waited until the last guard passed, then slipped into the shadows. Their hearts pounded so loudly that Jacob was sure someone would hear. Merk lifted a loose metal grate. A wave of poison air hit their faces. Jacob gagged. He almost vomited. "If you throw up, you die," Merk whispered. Jacob swallowed hard. They climbed down. The ladder was rusty and slippery. One broken step meant falling into black water below. When Jacob's feet touched the sewage, he almost screamed. It was warm, thick, moving. Something brushed against his leg. He froze. A rat swam past. Big, fat, fearless. The tunnel was narrow. They had to bend. sometimes crawl, sometimes swim. The ceiling was low. In some places, they had only centimeters of air above their heads. Darkness swallowed everything. Their only light was a tiny stolen flashlight, wrapped in cloth to hide its glow. It barely worked. The beam revealed nightmares. Floating corpses of animals, bones, broken tools, human waste, dead prisoners who had tried before them. Jacob recognized one face, a boy from his barracks. His eyes were open, still staring. Jacob nearly lost control. Merk grabbed his arm. "Don't look," he whispered. "Keep moving." Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time disappeared. The tunnel twisted endlessly. Left, right, down, up. Sometimes water rose to their chests, sometimes to their necks. Once it reached Jacob's mouth. He panicked. Merk pulled him forward just in time. They stopped to rest in a small dry pocket under a collapsed pipe. Jacob was shaking violently. From cold, from fear, from disgust. "I can't," he whispered. "I can't do this." Merk looked at him. "Do you want to die upstairs?" he asked. Silence. That was the answer. They continued. Suddenly, the flashlight flickered, then died. Darkness. Total. Absolute. Jacob felt his heart explode. "I can't see," he whispered. Merk took his hand. "Follow me, don't let go." They moved blindly, feeling walls, slipping, falling, crawling. Once, Jacob felt something bite his ankle. He screamed silently. Pain shot up his leg. A rat. Blood mixed with sewage. Infection meant death. Still, he moved. After endless suffering, they heard something new. Not water. Not rats. Wind. Fresh air. A distant echo. Freedom. But between them and that sound, something collapsed. A wall of mud and debris crashed down behind them. The tunnel began filling fast. Water rose. Vast. Very fast. They had minutes, maybe seconds, to escape. The water was rising fast. Too fast. Within seconds, it reached Jacob's knees. Then his waist. Then his chest. Cold, dirty sewage wrapped around his body like a living creature. Panic exploded in his mind. "Move, move," Merk shouted. They ran, slipped, fell, crawled. The tunnel was becoming a river. Behind them, the collapsed wall kept pushing more mud and debris forward. The water grew darker and thicker. Jacob's flashlight was gone. The darkness was absolute. He could not see his own hands. Only feel. Only hear. Only fear. His breath became short. Vast. Shallow. He swallowed filthy water. Gagged. Coughed. Nearly choked. "Don't stop," Merk yelled. They reached a narrow passage where the ceiling dropped suddenly. To pass, they had to duck. The water was now at Jacob's neck. Every step became harder. His clothes were heavy. His body was weak. He was losing strength. Suddenly, Jacob slipped on slime-covered stone. He fell. His head went under. Dark water filled his mouth, his nose, his ears. He kicked wildly, hit the wall, found nothing. For a moment he thought, "This is it. This is where I die." In sewage, in darkness, forgotten. Then he felt a hand grab his collar. Merk pulled him up. "Breathe," he shouted. Jacob gasped like a newborn baby. But Merk's face was pale, exhausted. He was weakening too. Ahead, the tunnel sloped upward. They climbed desperately, hands slipping, muscles burning, lungs screaming. The water chased them, reaching their chests, their shoulders, their mouths. Jacob could feel it licking his lips. He cried, not from fear, from desperation. "I don't want to die," he whispered. Merk said nothing. He only pushed. Harder. They reached a metal grate. Rusty. Blocked. Above it, faint moonlight. Open air. Freedom. But the grate was locked. Merk slammed it with his shoulder. Nothing. Jacob punched it. Pain exploded in his hand. Nothing. The water reached their chins. They had seconds. Merk looked at Jacob, then at the grate, then back. "I'll lift," he said. "Go." Jacob shook his head. "No. I'm heavier," Merk replied. "Now." He placed his back under the grate. With everything he had left, he pushed upward. His muscles trembled. Veins popped. The metal groaned. Slowly, it moved. Just enough. Jacob climbed onto Merk's shoulders. The water was at their lips now. Jacob grabbed the edge, pulled, scraped his skin. Blood ran, but he didn't care. He squeezed through the opening. Fresh air hit his lungs. He screamed, not in fear, in relief. He turned back. "Merk, come." But the water surged. A violent wave pushed through the tunnel. It slammed into Merk. He lost balance. The grate dropped. His head disappeared underwater. Jacob grabbed his arm. Slipped. Grabbed again. "Hold on." Merk looked at him and smiled. A tired, peaceful smile. Then his hand slipped. He vanished. The water swallowed him. Silence followed. Jacob lay on the ground shaking, sobbing, free, but alone. Jacob lay on the cold ground for a long time, unable to move. Above him, the night sky looked endless. Stars were shining, calm, beautiful, as if nothing terrible had ever happened below. But under his body, under that earth, Merk was gone, swallowed by darkness, by water, by sacrifice. Jacob tried to stand. His legs failed. He fell again. His body was free. His soul was broken. "I'm sorry," he whispered into the empty air. No answer came back. Only wind. Only silence. After a while, he forced himself up and began walking. He did not know where he was. A ruined industrial zone. Collapsed bridges. Burned factories. Broken rails. Everything smelled of smoke and oil. He hid whenever he heard engines. Whenever he saw lights. Fear had not left him. Not yet. Not ever. By morning, he reached a small abandoned hut near a river. He collapsed inside. Slept for almost 20 hours. No dreams. No nightmares. Just darkness. When he woke up, hunger hit him like a hammer. His stomach screamed. His throat was dry. He found an old can of beans and some stale bread left by refugees. He ate slowly, carefully, afraid food might disappear again. 2 days later, he heard unfamiliar voices. Not German, not harsh, different. He peeked through a crack. Foreign uniforms, red crosses on helmets, Allied medics. He walked out slowly, hands raised. "I escaped," he whispered, "from the camp." They stared at him, then rushed toward him, wrapped him in blankets, gave him water, asked questions, called doctors. At a nearby field hospital, Jacob learned the truth. The camp had been destroyed days later. Most prisoners had been killed. Very few survived. His escape had happened just in time. A week later, he was transferred to a refugee center. There, for the first time in years, he received clean clothes, real food, and medical care. But peace felt strange. Silence was uncomfortable. Beds felt unsafe. Doors felt like traps. He slept with light on. Always. Letters arrived months later. His parents were gone, killed in another camp. No graves, no goodbyes, only records. Jacob cried for days, then stopped. Tears ran out. Something inside him hardened. Not hate, determination. He decided, if he survived, it must mean something. He began helping other refugees, translating, carrying supplies, teaching children to read. Saving others became his way of surviving himself. One evening, he sat by the river and looked at the flowing water. The same water that had taken Merk. He whispered, "I will live for you." After the war, the world rushed forward. People rebuilt cities, opened shops, started families, learned to laugh again. But Jacob carried the sewers inside him. Every dark room reminded him of tunnels. Every bad smell reminded him of filth and fear. Every heavy rain reminded him of rising water. At first, he tried to forget. He buried his memories under work and silence. He became a mechanic. He fixed trains, engines, machines, anything that made noise. Noise helped him escape his thoughts. But memories do not die easily. They wait. At night they returned. Rats, water, Merk's disappearing hand. Jacob woke up sweating, shaking, sometimes screaming. No one talked about trauma back then. Men were told to be strong. So he stayed silent. For years. Then one day, he met a teacher who had lost her husband in the war. She listened, really listened. For the first time, Jacob told his story. Not quickly, not proudly, painfully, slowly, like reopening wounds. But after that day, something changed. The weight became lighter. He began speaking in schools, in community halls, in small villages. Not for money, not for fame, for memory. He told young people about camps, about tunnels, about sacrifices, about Merk, about choosing hope in places without light. Students cried. Teachers thanked him. Some survivors hugged him. Jacob understood. His survival had purpose. He married. He had children. He taught them kindness before strength, truth before pride, life before hate. When his son once asked, "Papa, why didn't you give up?" Jacob answered, "Because someone believed I was worth saving." In old age, he visited the river again, where he had first tasted freedom. He threw a small stone into the water. "For Merk," he whispered. Then another. For those who never escaped. Before his death, Jacob wrote one last letter. It ended with these words: "I walked through hell so you wouldn't have to. Remember us." Today, his story remains. Not in monuments, not in medals, in hearts, in lessons, in warnings that even in the darkest tunnels, there is still a way out. If someone dares to move forward,